And we have severe thunderstorms rolling into the area. We'll have the latest on these storms coming up.
We'll have the construction plan for Highway 69 corridor in Crawford County come together.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner. It's Tuesday. It's April the 2nd, and we have ongoing severe weather across the area this morning that we need to talk about. We have tornado watches in place. We are anticipating another one here before too much longer, and a number of severe thunderstorm warnings. So let's take a look at what we have got out there across the region this morning. So again, tornado watches. You can see in the purple, we are anticipating another tornado watch sometime in the next half hour or so for our remaining counties in Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and in Arkansas. And we do have these severe thunderstorms that are rolling through. This line, honestly, look at how rapidly this thing developed, and it stretches from Kansas City down into parts of northern Texas. So everybody's going to get something out of this. But this line is also moving very quickly across the area as well, upwards of 60, 70 miles an hour to the east. So that's where it gets a little more interesting as well as these storms. The storms themselves are moving northeast. And earlier with this particular line here in southeast Kansas, the warning indicated that those storms were moving northeast at 110 miles an hour. Now, that speed has come down. They're moving northeast at about 55 to 60 miles an hour, but still nonetheless severe. But the cold front is pushing the entire line off to the east at about 50 to 60 miles an hour. So here's a look at those severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, as of right now, what we have in place is simply severe thunderstorm warnings. We're looking at 60 mile an hour wind gusts, and we're also looking at quarter-size hail with some of these storms out there. So these warnings that include Fredonia, Howard, Sedan, Yates Center, and just to the west of Iola run until 5:15 this morning. We have warnings in the far northern portions of our area in southeast Kansas that run through 5:30 and 5:45. So this is including Burlington and Garnett. So we're talking Coffee, Anderson counties up there, where we have these severe thunderstorms continuing across the region. And then, as I mentioned, this line stretches down south. This warning now in Osage County until 5:45. It's the southern edge of this line that we do need to watch very closely, as it has tried to show some signs of at least weak rotation as it's continuing to lift off to the east. And so we would need to watch this line very carefully, because that's why we have these tornado watches in place. We still have that potential for a possible spin up or two within this line as it continues to race off to the east. We're going to continue to track these storms as they push on through. Once we reach about, say, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, the bulk of the severe threat will be out of our area, and we're going to have very gusty winds back behind that. Also, a note, some of you may be waking up noticing it's a little dark. We do have a power outage unrelated to the storms, but related to the 50 to 55 mile an hour wind gusts we've been getting ahead of these storms in the south side of Joplin. So just a heads up on that. That's impacting range line south of 32nd Street. Does include the traffic signals there at the diverging diamond. And again, with this line racing through, we're not going to get that much rain. It may look like it, but we're not going to get that much rain with this, unfortunately. We're just going to have to deal with this severe weather. As these warnings continue to push through the area, we'll keep you updated. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy is actually on his way in to join us with this coverage. And again, if we get any tornado warnings or anything more significant, we will jump back in and keep you updated. For right now, though, we're going to send it back to Sam for a look at actually some election results this morning out of Oklahoma.
Thanks, Chris. Voters in Oklahoma headed to the polls yesterday to cast their ballots on a variety of issues with local impact. One of those races was between Destiny Stanley and Terry Daniels for Quapaw Town Clerk and Treasurer. Terry Daniels has won that contest. Also on the ballot yesterday is the race for Commerce Marshal between Ernie Shelby and Michael Sweeten. Michael Sweeten has won that contest. Amber Knoll and Henry Goforth are both vying for the position of the Nita City Clerk. Amber Knoll has won that contest. There were also some propositions on the ballot yesterday. A Proposition in J raised the issue of street and road improvements. That measure has passed. And on a proposition around the Ketchum Public Schools would mean funds for building projects. That measure has also passed. If you ever need to find voting information for your area, just scan this QR code. It'll take you to our election resources on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. You'll be able to find all sorts of election info, including polling places and schedules. You can even check to see if you're registered to vote. An 18-year-old driver suffered serious injuries after crashing into a guardrail Monday morning. Baxter Springs Fire and Galena Fire were alerted Monday morning to a vehicle crash south of the Rainbow Bridge where a car was impaled by a guardrail. The guardrail had gone through the front windshield and out the back. Authorities tell us the female driver was transported to a Joplin hospital with serious injuries. A quick-thinking driver escaped a fire in Newton County on Monday afternoon. Authorities say a pull-along RV trailer caught fire on I-49 near mile marker 24. Flames had engulfed the trailer when the Osho fire arrived on the scene. The driver managed to unhook the trailer and pull over towards safety. Authorities report there were no injuries. Authorities in Newton County responded to a motorcycle crash over the weekend. The incident happened just after 6:30 Saturday night on Highway NN and Goldfinch Road. Troopers found a 2004 Harley-Davidson Road King off the east side of the roadway. They say the 55-year-old man was traveling south on Highway NN when the crash occurred. He was transported to an area hospital with serious injuries. This continues to be a developing story. We'll have additional details on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, as they develop. Construction plans for the Highway 69 corridor in Crawford County are forming. KDOT held a series of meetings a little over a month ago to get public input on the future of Highway 69. Since those meetings, KDOT has kept the conversation going by accepting feedback on a web page through March 12th. KDOT has already started some aspects of construction, including a pavement marking project, and progress at the intersection at Centennial should start in about 2 months. 3 more intersection projects are scheduled to begin next year. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Fort Scott High School softball tries to remain undefeated. We have the details. Plus, dozens of people are forced to evacuate their homes after a volcano erupts in Iceland. And we're tracking thunderstorms for today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Fort Scott High School softball enters 2025 having made the 4A state tournament each of the last 2 seasons. The Lady Tigers bring back a lot of familiar faces from those teams and are off to 4-0 start so far this year. Fort Scott High School softball at home for a tournament yesterday afternoon, first playing against Ottawa. Top of the 3rd inning, Kendall Aiken in the circle. Lady Tigers lead 1-0. She strikes out the side and would do the same the following inning. Bottom of the 4th, Riley Heimer crushes this pitch to deep right center. It'll roll all the way to the wall and she hustles into 3rd with a stand-up triple. That would start a rally. Later in the inning, Fort Scott now in front 5-0. Allie Brown skies one up into the wind. It causes all sorts of trouble for the left fielder and drops in for a hit. Another run scores as Brown coasts and into 2nd with a double. Fort Scott beats Ottawa in the first game of its tournament. Lady Tigers win 10-2. In their second game of the tournament, Fort Scott rolls to a 16-0 victory over Louisburg, which gets called after just 4 innings, and the Lady Tigers improve to 6-0. Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State baseball were both on the road yesterday afternoon. The Gorillas are currently in 4th place in the MIAA, and the Lions are down in 8th place, which is very unexpected after being nationally ranked in the preseason. Yesterday morning, Missouri Southern baseball is in Wichita, taking on Newman, who's in last place in the MIAA. These 2 teams go back and forth all game. Southern fell behind 9-4, tied it at 9, then trailed 12-9 before Nate Mizowski hits a 3-run homer to it at 12 in the top of the 9th. Eventually, the Lions score 4 runs in the top of the 10th to seal it. Pittsburgh State baseball is over in Springfield, taking on Drury. The Gorillas shut out the Panthers 5-0. Brady Pay Shue gets the win on the mound for PSU. He goes 7 innings allowing just 5 hits and striking out 4. This marks 5 wins in a row for Pitt State. The Grills' next game is on Friday at Newman. Still to come, a new study reveals that kids are more likely to be obese based on the poor health choices set by their parents. Plus, a check of the 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:15, and we are continuing to track severe thunderstorms rolling through the area as we speak. So we have tornado watches southeast Kansas through 7 a.m., northeastern portions of northeastern Oklahoma, and then extending in our northern counties through 10 a.m., and we're anticipating a new one for everyone else through about noon. So here's what we've got. We have new severe thunderstorm warnings into southeast Kansas, and that's where we are going to start. So let's take a look first at all the warnings that we have out there. So these new ones, this is for Elk, Wilson, Labette, Neosho, Montgomery, Chautauqua, Woodson, and Allen counties until 6:45. Now, these storms seem to have slowed down. They say they're moving east at 35. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail is the primary threat with this line of storms that's pushing through southeast Kansas right now. What we are also watching is another storm back down into northeastern Oklahoma. Now, at this moment, it is just outside of our immediate area, but you see that tornado warning in Osage County just north of Pawhuska. We do have at this time a radar confirmed tornado in Osage County near Pawhuska, just to the northwest. So again, this is outside of our immediate area, but this is that reminder we were talking about. This is why we have the tornado watches, because the environment is in place for the possibility of some spin-up tornadoes. And so we do want to continue to monitor all of this very closely as these thunderstorms continue to push off across the area, moving to the east still. Now, the cold front itself is pushing the entire line to the east, and we have otherwise these storms moving northeast. And again, the ones in southeast Kansas slowed down. If you remember earlier that initial warning, they were moving northeast at 110 miles an hour. They've slowed down to about 35. Now, this line, as you can see, extends from around the Kansas City metro back down into portions of North Texas. So it is a very, very big line of storms. I do want to emphasize as well that once we get to about noon or so, we will be looking at these storms exiting our area, and the severe threat will be done by that point. In fact, once you get behind these storms, your severe threat is done. It's over. That's the end of it. We do have additional shower and thunderstorm chances this week as well. Thankfully, we're not looking at anything quite like what we're seeing this morning. We're going to continue to monitor these storms. We also have a wind advisory for most of southwest Missouri, parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, and that goes without saying. We've had those winds down at the Joplin Airport gusting upwards of 50 to 55 miles an hour this morning, and we also still have that power outage south central Joplin. So this is again range line south of 32nd Street, and for locations west of range line from that point. So just a heads up on a traffic alert there. So here's what we're looking at. This is the outlook for the rest of the morning into the afternoon. So this is again indicating that threat shifting off to our east out there. And like I said, take a look at the future track by noon. We're pretty well done. We're still breezy, and we're going to be warm. Skies will start to go partly cloudy out there, but otherwise we'll be looking pretty good heading into the afternoon and evening hours. Now, as we head into our Thursday, like I said, we'll have some showers and storms out there as well. Temperatures right now, 72, Joplin and Pittsburgh, very warm for 5 o'clock in the morning in April. And take a look at some of these temperatures, and you can also see where that front is now just to the northwest of Yates Center. All of us in the low to almost mid-70s as we're getting this morning started across the area. And I do want to, again, bring up the trends for what we're expecting heading into Thursday and Friday here for you. So give me just a moment, and we will get to the rest of that forecast for you. Like I said, we're here. We're tracking these storms. We're going to continue to do so. So here we go again into Thursday morning. A few showers out there. Could see a few rumbles of thunder, and we do have a low risk for some strong storms south of I-44. We're talking maybe small hail, potentially some gusty winds. We're not looking at anything severe, but we're looking at least some more meaningful rainfall rainfall than what we're going to see this morning across the area. We get a break Thursday night into Friday, and then we head into Friday morning. Take a look at another round of storms. Again, not anticipating any severe weather with this activity. You can see we're much cooler as well. Temperatures dropping back into the 50s, but we are looking at least some more, again, meaningful rainfall to help out across the area, so we definitely need that rainfall here. Again, no new warnings at this point other than what we have already discussed, and we're going to quickly recap what we do have in place for everybody out there this morning. So again, severe thunderstorm warnings in southeast Kansas, and again, this is a good portion of southeast Kansas: Elk, Wilson, Labette, Neosho, Montgomery, Chautauqua, Woodson, and Allen counties until 6:45. This is for winds to 60 and quarter-size hail. These storms moving east at about 35 miles an hour. And we have our new tornado watch out there as well. So we'll just double check. It should be running until noon today, and that is when it will run. So that is going to be Crawford, Bourbon, Cherokee counties, Ottawa, Delaware County, Benton County, and then the bulk of southwest Missouri. This new tornado watch will run through noon today. And again, it's simply because even though we have a line of storms, it could potentially produce some spin-ups out there. And you can see, again, we still have that tornado warning in Osage County just outside of our area and still listed as a radar-confirmed tornado. So we'll want to watch this line as it continues to roll into the area through the morning hours. We'll keep you updated on any warnings that come in as they do so. I'll look down the road on the extended forecast real quick for you. Again, we'll be into the low to mid-70s today, cooler heading into the weekend with those rain chances, maybe some scattered storms, breezy as well. Warmer, more sunshine to start next week, a few showers next Wednesday. Of course, we're going to continue to monitor these storms. If we get any new warnings, any new information like that, we will certainly pop in and let you know. Be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. Children rely on their parents to teach them how to make healthy choices, but a study says a mom's health may have a direct impact on her kids. Research says children whose moms are obese are 3 to 4 times more likely to be obese themselves in adulthood. It also says if a mom smokes, it increases their children's risk of adult obesity by at least 60%. Researchers analyzed data from over 1,100 kids born in a single week in 1958 across the UK, taking part in an ongoing study. They found maternal factors have a long reach past the age of 40. They say more research is needed to figure out the early life factors that influence obesity, to develop targeted prevention programs in children and adults. An apple a day and a laugh a day keeps the doctor away, and one doctor is sharing why joking around may have some health benefits. Dr. Kiara Pruitt with Cleveland Clinic says that laughter can help us face stress that we may deal with in everyday life. Dr. Pruitt says that laughing releases those good chemical feelings in our brain, boosting our overall mood. Embracing laughter may be freeing for our mental health and helps create a positive outlook in a difficult situation. Whether it's a comedy show or a funny movie, Dr. Pruitt says it's important for you to find ways to tap into your sense of humor. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we are continuing to track strong to severe thunderstorms across the area. We have a number of severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado watches. We will have the latest on this when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, local health officials urge for vaccinations as measles cases continue to rise in Oklahoma and Kansas.
And we are continuing to track strong to severe thunderstorms rolling through the 4 states this morning. We'll have the latest on these warnings and watches coming up.
Plus, students at a Joplin Elementary School come together to celebrate the Teacher of the Year.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:28. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday. It's April the 2nd, and we have that severe threat ongoing in the 4 states right now. We talked about this yesterday, that we'd have that potential for some severe weather yesterday evening, and then we were going to have the cold front come through the line of storms, and it is certainly coming through with that line of storms. Let's start with a look at the radar right now. We'll show you where the thunderstorm activity is, and then what we'll do is, James, if you could go to Max Oh, perfect. See, you read my mind. So here's a broad view of the line in our area. Now, I want to emphasize, too, that this line, you can see, stretches from northeast Missouri down into portions of northern Texas. This is a very intense line of storms out there, and we are continuing to monitor. Regrettably, we have that threat for spin-up tornadoes within this line, which we have seen just outside of our area, which we're going to talk about in a moment. First, a look at the current severe thunderstorm warnings that we do have across southeastern Kansas at this time. So the bigger one here runs until 6:45 this morning, and again, that is going to continue to include a number of counties. So we're talking Elk, Wilson, Labette, Neosho, Montgomery, Chautauqua, Woodson, and Allen. And again, this at this time is for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and we're looking at quarter-size hail with these storms as they push off to the east now at about 35 miles an hour. You can see Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy is here with us this morning as well to track these storms as they move on through. Up to the north, we have these severe thunderstorm warnings. These will run until 5:45, and then further north, they run until 6:15. We have tornado watches across the entire area. So for southeast Kansas, that watch runs until 7 a.m. And then for Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties in Kansas, Ottawa and Delaware County in Oklahoma, and the rest of southwest Missouri, it runs until noon. And then our other counties in northeast Oklahoma, watch runs until 10 o'clock this morning. Now again, just entering the far northwestern corner of Washington County is this new tornado warning. Now, not long ago, there was a radar-confirmed tornado with this storm in Osage County. That is not the case at this time, but we are continuing to monitor this particular storm very closely, and it is continuing to lift off to the north and east. And we'll tell you exactly how fast this sucker is moving here. Northeast at about 45 miles an hour at this point, and we can actually throw on the radar and to give you a track on that one particular storm, just so we know exactly what we're looking at here with timing. So again, this one is just particular, but we're talking Caney at about 5:34, so just in the next few minutes. Independence just before 6, Cherryvale a little after 6, Parsons, if it holds, by about 6:33. Doug, was there anything you wanted to add in on some of this here?
Yeah, jumping in on this just a bit. Let's go over to Max 2 here, and we're going to zoom into Max 1. We're going to look at this storm moving out of Osage County. So, James, I don't know if you can get that switched over for me or not onto Max 1. But we have that storm, well, you can see it right here, but that tornado warning. So that whole storm is having multiple little spin-ups on top of it. So we could see a tornado anywhere in that line. This is going to be pushing into Washington County, but also once we get into Montgomery County, so Caney, Independence, those areas really need to keep your eyes on this. And then as this line stretches farther north, the lightning's starting to pick up a bit, especially Fredonia up toward Yates Center and Iola. So we got to watch that as well as this storm continues to work toward the east. Environment's very unstable, so as all these storms continue to push east, you're going to see these little embedded little tiny supercells that could produce rotating storms at any time, and they're going to take their good old time, so it stays warm and windy. Finally, the Kansas Missouri state line here, 7 a.m., still severe threat. Behind it, as Chris was mentioning, once the storms get through, your severe threat is done, but still severe threat from Stockton, Carthage, Joplin, Neosho, Anderson, down to Jay, even at 7:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning. So we're in this severe threat at least for the next 4 or 5 hours. Chris, I'll throw it back to you.
All right, so as Doug mentioned, we're going to continue to track these storms as they roll on through. If the need arises, obviously we'll kind of continue through the KOAM Morning News with severe weather coverage. And a reminder again, not related immediately to the storms, but to the wind gusts that we have out there, because we have a wind advisory for a good portion of the area for those 50 to 55 mile an hour wind gusts. We do have a power outage still south side of Joplin. So again, the MoDOT cameras were showing this. At 32nd and Range Line, looking south, it is pitch black out there. And if it goes west of Range Line, the power is still out. We've seen some utility trucks out there. This is related just to the gusty winds. It's going to be something else, because the gusty winds will continue even behind the storms. And that's why we have these wind advisories in place across the area. We are ultimately, we're quite warm again this morning as we're starting our day. And we're going to be starting upper 60s, be about 70 by 11 o'clock ahead of those highs right around around the low to mid 70s. Again, by this afternoon, though, we clear out. We're looking pretty good. We just have to get through these storms first this morning, and we'll keep you updated on any new warnings as they pop in. For now, Samantha, we're going to send it back over to you.
Thanks, Chris and Doug. The measles outbreak is continuing to grow and is affecting the 4 states, with 10 cases of measles in Oklahoma, 23 in Kansas, and nearly 500 nationwide. Concerns of the disease spreading is close to home. The Cherokee County Health Department says the best way to combat this disease is to get vaccinated.
If you haven't been vaccinated, it's a good idea to call to see if at your age, if you need to be vaccinated at that time. We do recommend that children that are in daycare to make sure that they are up to date on their immunizations, and any individuals that are immunocompromised should also check on that status as well.
Health officials recommend staying home if you feel sick and to wipe down all surfaces as viruses can stay alive for about 2 hours. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Girard Events kicked off the city's monthly food truck yesterday at Veterans Park. This month's featured vendor, Ghetto Tacos, served up authentic Mexican street tacos and sides from 11 to 6. The Friends of the Joplin Public Library kick off their 3rd annual Spring for a Book fundraiser yesterday. The event runs through April 12th, raising funds to add new books to the library's circulation, including the high-demand Lucky Day collection. So far, 140 books have been donated through this year's fundraiser, with donors able to contribute at different levels. A teacher at Cecil Floyd Elementary in Joplin got a surprise from staff and students alike yesterday. Shannon Cooper was just named Joplin School's Teacher of the Year.
Like we all give our all. To be a teacher, I think your heart's on your sleeve. You love kids. You're there for the kids. And I think I try to make sure that every day I show up for the kids, making sure they're learning not only what they need to do academically, but also how to be a good person, how to have good character.
Cooper has been teaching for 31 years. 2 of those have been as a transitional kindergarten teacher at Cecil Floyd Elementary. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. At least 4 people are dead and several injured after an Israeli airstrike struck Lebanon's capital. Plus, search and rescue efforts continue after a massive earthquake hit the country of Burma. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
All right, guys, meteorologist Doug Hetty alongside with Chris Warner giving you continual coverage of severe weather. Of course, we have tornado watches in effect everyone across the region as these storms continue to push off toward the east as we go through the morning hours. Look at the numerous severe thunderstorm warnings from Allen, Neosho, Labette over toward Woodson, Wilson County, Montgomery County, and then we've been watching this cluster just to the west of Washington County where that whole little part of the storm we've been getting little small rotations, and we do have 1 tornado warning, so it's pushing into northern parts of Washington County. So we definitely want to keep our eyes on that. Look at this line, very electric line, tons of thunder, tons of lightning. Most of the storms in southeastern Kansas, we're seeing straight line winds, some hail, winds kind of 60 to 65 miles per hour. But you can see we're starting to get some different structures working in southeastern Kansas. Not just a line, but some nubs out here. So we want to keep our eyes on that because that would have that greater potential to get some rotating storms. And then these extend all the way down into northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Let's go ahead and take a tour here just a bit. We're going to zoom in to this storm moving out of Osage County, northern parts of Washington County, right on top of Caney. So still enough to warrant that tornado warning. Any areas of rotation would be right in here, just to the southwest of Caney. But Montgomery County, you guys want to start paying attention to this as the storm pushes east. So let's go ahead. We're going to tour and see who is in line next. I've also noticed this. We're starting to get some thunderstorms out ahead of the main line. So traditionally, seeing this happen, these guys, if they can strengthen, would have the chance to rotate because they're standalone cells. They're not getting all the energy kind of draped into one storm. So we want to watch this little nub coming out of Montgomery County, and then these guys pushing into Labette, popping up in Crawford and also Bourbon County. Those are going to have potential to possibly rotate if they can become standalone storms. Very intense storms right through Wilson County, Fredonia, Neodesha. So next in line, let's go ahead and we're going to zoom in here just a bit. But you can see from Parsons up toward Erie, Chanute, you guys are all next in line with these showers and thunderstorms. Let's continue a little bit farther toward the north and to the east. So here is Iola, intense storms, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning. Bronson over toward Fort Scott, you guys still have probably about 30 or 40 minutes. Storms are booking northeast 50, 60, 70 miles per hour, but the overall line is sagging east, southeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So on the Missouri side, you still have some time to go. So if we look from Nevada, Lamar, Joplin, Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh, a few storms are starting to pop up just to your west, right now things are looking okay, but things will start to pick up quite a bit. Also southwest Missouri along and south of I-44, still a couple hours away before we get these storms working back into the region. Let's go back, put these in motion here, and you can see the overall motion. Individual storms, northeast line is driving off toward the east. We're going to continue with this severe threat for the next 3 to 4 hours. But once this line passes your house, your severe threat will drop and you won't have to worry about it whatsoever anymore. But again, these are going to march off toward the east. Main threat through the morning hours is going to be large hail, gusty winds, 60 upwards to 70 miles per hour, and we could get some small little spin ups within this line. Coming up next, Chris is going to let you know what's going to happen next.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:45 now. We've got Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy here. He's actually working right now on some information, and we're going to go over some information with you in terms of some new warnings that have actually just come out. We've got Bourbon and Crawford counties now that have new warnings out, and so what we've got these, we're going to take a look at them real quick here. These will run until 6:45 again for Bourbon and Crawford counties, and this is for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail as a possibility there. So we're going to continue to watch those storms. It's, of course, associated with this whole line that's rolling through. I do want to mention now we do have this new severe thunderstorm warning that encompasses Washington and Newada counties and northwestern Craig counties out there as well. You see that it is orange in color, and that is because the National Weather Service in Tulsa is still putting on the tornado possible tag. Some good news is, as you can see, we also do not currently have a tornado warning in place out there. I know the sirens were sounded in Caney a little earlier, but the tornado warning has been dropped for now. But in that line where that orange warning box is, there is that possibility of some potential rotation or at least a spin-up tornado. We've got to watch this line very closely as it continues to race off to the east here. It's just one of those situations. It's unusual for this time of the morning for this kind of severe weather out there, but we are seeing it, so make sure that you've got your plans in place, because I know we're getting ready to start the day. We're getting ready to get the kids on the bus, and for some of us, this is going to be coming right at that time. So pay attention to school Facebook pages or alerts from schools if they delay anything, and just pay attention for yourself. Just make sure you're not putting yourself in danger this morning for your morning commute, getting the kids on the bus, whatever the case may be, as this line rolls through. So it continues to push off to the east. A reminder, we have wind advisories for a good portion of the area through today, and that is simply because we have already seen those wind gusts upwards of 50 to 55 miles an hour in the Joplin area alone, and we will continue to have these gusty winds even behind this line of storms. We will continue to have gusty winds out there. Take a look at the future track now. As we've mentioned, once you're behind this line, your severe threat is done, and by noon, the last of it is really on its way out of here, and we're going to have partly cloudy skies, breezy, somewhat mild though, low to mid 70s. Overnight tonight though, clouds will increase, could see a few showers as we start our Thursday morning, and then some chances of thunderstorms. And I do want to mention that we do have a low risk for some stronger storms south of I-44. It's a very low risk, but it is there. We're talking maybe some small hail or some gusty winds. Nothing like what we are getting this morning across the area, so we don't have to worry about that. Showers will wrap up a little bit to overnight going into Friday morning, and then we'll have another round of showers and storms roll through Friday morning and continue as scattered showers and storms throughout the day on our Friday. That is the MoDOT camera there at 32nd and Rangeline looking to the south, and I can actually take that off real quick. It's still pitch black down there. I know crews are working on the power outage, and again, that's not from storms, obviously. That's just from those gusty winds. So storms through the morning, near 70 by 11. Again, highs low mid 70s will be clearing out later. Those gusts could continue upwards of 45 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies down to 50. A little cooler, but winds will be light and variable for us before they pick up again tomorrow, gusting out of the east up to 25. Cooler tomorrow, upper 50s, and we go low 60s Friday. Cool into the weekend as those rain chances continue. Sunshine returns for a little bit next week, as do the milder temperatures back into the 60s and 70s. Again, we're going to continue to monitor these storms as they roll through the area. Any new warnings that pop up, we will certainly jump in and let you know.
You could call this 95-year-old man quite a gem. He's an Arizona resident who handcrafts earrings, but he doesn't do it for money. Cameron Pullum has the story.
There's no doubt that 95-year-old Willis Wimp is cut from a different cloth. That's because inside the Mesa Regal RV Park lapidary, he's been turning stones into smiles for years.
Gives a purpose to my life, you know. Otherwise, there's no reason for living.
And what a purpose and way of life he's created. For 16 years, a few hours each day have been spent sculpting and polishing rocks he's either found or purchased into handmade jewelry.
At first, you know, you make pendants, you make belt buckles.
But it was the earrings he began making for his wife Joyce that have become his trademark. Opals, he says, are his favorite.
And as they say, a man who works on opal sooner or later becomes an opalholic.
When Joyce passed after 59 years of marriage, Willis kept her memory alive by continuing to make earrings. Instead of selling them, he started giving them away.
He loves making people happy.
Tom Osborne says Willis is a master of his craft, teaching him and others the art of turning ordinary rocks into extraordinary keepsakes. Over the years, watching him gift his lovingly made earrings to women at trade shows, art walks, and all across the world.
Over 14,000 sets of earrings that he's given out to women on all 7 continents.
Let's just say it's made him pretty popular around here.
He gets hugs and kisses from all the girls, and he just enjoys it.
Brenda Rademacher managed the lapidary for more than 15 years and says Willis truly is a gem.
We had our artisan show the other day, and he brought all the earrings that he had made, and he gave them all away.
In a world that often puts a price tag on everything, Willis proves the best things really are free, and generosity never gets old.
If you can bring a little happiness in the world, it's quite a thing, you know.
Stick around. We'll be right back.
All right, guys, meteorologist Chris Warner want to keep you guys updated on the severe weather. Of course, we have tornado watches in effect. Everybody across the 4-state area. We have severe thunderstorm warnings. We're looking Bourbon, Crawford, and then from Allen, Neosho, Labette, Woodson, Wilson, Montgomery, and then we have severe thunderstorm warnings with a tornado tag. What that means is they are severe thunderstorm warnings, so it's these guys in orange, so a sliver of Craig, Nowata, and Washington County, but we've had the history of producing some rotation, so of course that's what we're trying to keep our eyes on. Look at this line pushing east. So once this line works through, your severe weather threat is done, but it's going to take a long time to get all the way through the 4-state area. Plus, ahead of the main line, we're starting to see an additional line pop up ahead of it. So we're getting some wind, and within that additional line, that's where we could see some little spin ups trying to get going as we go through the next couple hours. Let's go ahead, Take a little tour. So from Bartlesville, look at the lightning on top of Caney. That part of the storm did rotate in the past, now pushing over toward Coffeyville. Let's track a little bit farther toward the north and to the east. You can see the severe thunderstorms extending from Independence, Fredonia, Neodesha, and then these guys, the lightning is starting to pick up through Lebec County and then heading over into Crawford County. So of course the action is going to really pick up, and then traveling a little farther north, very intense storm just to the west of Fort Scott. All this is going to get into southwestern Missouri as well. I'm going to toss it over to Chris now.
Yeah, just a quick look at that extended forecast for you again. Once we get past this line of storms, we're going to have those partly cloudy skies out there, still breezy. Highs low mid 70s, make the upper 50s tomorrow. A few scattered showers and storms Thursday and Friday. Maybe some stronger storms south of I-44, but again, nothing like what we're seeing right now. Rain chances into the weekend, a little warmer next week. Again, we're continuing to track these storms, and we'll have the latest for you when the KOAM Morning News returns.